Listen closely. In 2019, the Nobel Prize in Physiology was awarded to 3 scientists, Kalin, Ratcliffe, and Semenza. Their discovery was not a new drug. It was not a surgical procedure. It was a mechanism deep within your biology known as oxygen sensing. They proved that your cells possess a specific switch, a molecular dial, that changes how your DNA behaves based on the availability of oxygen. Why does this matter to you sitting here right now? Because for the last decade you have been told that your fatigue is a mood. You have been told that your lack of drive is a personality trait. But the Nobel research confirms something far more fundamental. Your exhaustion is not a moral failing. It is a cellular suffocation. When you wake up tomorrow, you have a choice. You can remain in the state of hypoxia, low oxygen availability, where your cells age faster, your skin loses its elasticity, and your mind feels like it is moving through deep water. Or you can flip the switch. We are not talking about getting pumped up. We are talking about a biological imperative, a method to flood the mitochondria, the energy power plants of your cells, with a specific fuel they need to reverse the clock of biological aging. You will feel this, not in a month, not in a week, but within the first 10 minutes of the morning. This is not magic. It is the authority of your own biology waiting for the signal. Let us look at your morning. Not the morning you see in commercials, but the reality of your physical state. The alarm rings. You do not feel rested. There is a heaviness in the limbs, a sensation almost like gravity has doubled overnight. You sit up, but the body wants to lie back down. There is a specific stiffness in the chest wall, a tightness between the ribs that restricts the breath before you have even taken your first conscious inhale. You might notice a subtle buzzing behind the eyes, not a headache, but a pressure, a fog. You look in the mirror and you see the inflammation in the face, the puffiness around the jaw. This is not just looking tired. This is the somatic evidence of stagnation. Throughout the morning, you find yourself sighing. You might not notice it, but your body is gasping. Short, shallow breaths that barely reach the bottom of the lungs. You feel a constant, low-grade vibration in the stomach or the throat. It isn't loud panic. It is a quiet, persistent static. It feels like you are driving a car with the parking brake engaged. You are pressing the accelerator, trying to focus, trying to work, trying to care, but the engine is straining against a mechanical resistance. This heaviness in the forehead, this shallow tightness in the solar plexus, this is your body crying out for a change in state. It is the feeling of a system running on reserve power. For centuries, we dismissed these sensations as simply getting older. But modern neuroscience at institutions like Stanford and the Huberman Lab has identified the mechanism behind this drag. They refer to it as carbon dioxide tolerance and autonomic arousal control. The science is clear. When your tolerance for carbon dioxide is low, your brain interprets this as a stress signal. It triggers the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, even when you are sitting safely at your kitchen table. This chemically clamps down your blood vessels, restricting flow to the brain and skin. It is fascinating, then, to look back 3,000 years. The ancient Vedics and Taoist masters described this exact same phenomenon. They didn't have MRIs, but they had deep somatic awareness. They called this state stagnant qi, or a blocked prana flow. They understood what modern physiology has now proven. The breath is the remote control for the nervous system. However, we must be careful. We do not start with the mysticism. We start with the mechanism. The ancients practiced pranayama not to be spiritual, but to be functional. They were biohackers thousands of years before the term existed. They knew that by controlling the diaphragm, they could manually override the brain's stress signals. Science validates the ancient. The mechanism is biological. The wisdom is timeless. Let us decode what is actually happening inside of you during this morning ritual. We need to look at the Krebs cycle. This is the chemical reaction inside your mitochondria that produces ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP is the energy currency of life. Every thought, every muscle movement, every repair of a skin cell requires ATP. When you breathe typically, shallow, stressed, chest-focused, you are not exchanging enough gas. Oxygen levels drop slightly, and CO2 levels rise in a disorganized way. Your mitochondria cannot run the Krebs cycle efficiently. Instead of producing 36 units of energy, ATP, per molecule of glucose, they switch to a stress mode, producing only 2 units. This is why you feel heavy. You are literally running on 5% efficiency. The protocol we will use utilizes a concept called hypoxia-hypercapnia paradox. First, by breathing rhythmically and deeply, we lower the CO2 in the blood, making the blood slightly alkaline. This causes hemoglobin, the red blood cells carrying oxygen, to hold on to that oxygen tightly. This sounds counterintuitive, but stay with me. Then we hold the breath. This is the key. During the hold, CO2 builds up rapidly. This CO2 buildup forces the hemoglobin to suddenly release all the trapped oxygen directly into the tissues, into the brain, the skin, the organs. This is called the Bohr effect. It is a massive, sudden delivery of fuel. It shocks the mitochondria back into high-efficiency mode. It flushes the stagnant fluid from the lymphatic system. It is a biological reboot. You are manually switching your energy production from the stressed 2 units to the abundant 36 units. That is the clarity you feel. That is the energy. Now, a moment of ground truth. I am not selling you a miracle cure. Biology does not respect shortcuts. It respects consistency. If you have been operating in a state of stress and shallow breathing for 20 years, one session will feel good, but it will not rewrite your biology overnight. We are gardeners here, not mechanics. We are cultivating a new baseline. You may feel lightheaded at first. You may feel a tingling in the fingers or the lips. This is safe. This is simply the sensation of your nerves waking up to a higher oxygen supply than they are used to. It is the feeling of coming back online. Do not force this. Do not strive for perfection. If you cannot hold your breath for the full duration, you stop, you recover, you try again tomorrow. We are building capacity, not testing endurance. Approach this with the maturity of someone who is ready to heal, not someone looking for a quick fix. We call this the solar oxygenation ritual. It is best performed immediately upon waking, before you look at a screen, before you consume caffeine. Find a quiet place where you can sit with your spine straight. This straightness is crucial. It allows the diaphragm to descend fully without compression. There are 3 phases to this ritual. Phase 1. The mechanical pump, 30 repetitions. Place your hands on your lower abdomen. We are going to take 30 deep, rhythmic breaths. Inhale through the nose, driving the air deep so your hands rise. Exhale through the mouth, letting the air fall out. It sounds like waves. In, out, in, out. Do not pause between the breaths. Connect them. A circle of air. You are charging the blood with oxygen. You are alkalizing the system. Keep a steady rhythm. If you feel tingling, keep going. Do not fear it. That is the Bohr effect in action. It represents oxygen being forced into the microvessels that have been starving for years. You are safe. In, out. 20 more. In, out. Feel the rib cage expand laterally. Feel the stiffness in the chest breaking apart. Phase 2. The hypoxic hold, the silence. On the 30th breath, exhale fully. Empty the lungs completely. And now, wait. Do not inhale. Hold the breath out. Sit in the stillness. This is the moment of magic. Carbon dioxide is building up. Your blood vessels are dilating, opening wide to the brain and skin. The air hunger will start to rise. The diaphragm might spasm slightly. This is normal. Relax the shoulders. Relax the forehead. Observe the sensation of needing air, but do not panic. You are safe. Hold for as long as is comfortable. Push just slightly past the first urge to breathe. Phase 3. The recovery spike. When you absolutely must breathe, take a massive inhale through the nose. Fill the lungs to 100% capacity. Hold that full breath at the top. Squeeze the pelvic floor muscles. Squeeze the stomach. Drive that energy up to the head. Hold for 10 to 15 seconds. Visualize the energy moving to the center of the brain. If you feel dizzy, release early. You are in control. 3, 2, 1. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Sit for a moment. Feel the shift. That heat in the body, that is ATP production. That stillness in the mind, that is the brain receiving optimal fuel. Repeat this cycle 3 times. What can you expect as you integrate this ritual into your life? Night 1 to 3. You will notice the immediate effects. The buzzing behind the eyes will quiet down. You may feel a warmth spreading through your extremities. Cold hands and feet becoming warm as circulation improves. You will feel a sense of alert calm distinct from the jittery energy of coffee. Week 1. The functional changes begin. You will notice you are sleeping differently. Because you are training your CO2 tolerance in the morning, your breathing at night becomes slower and more regular. The heaviness in the morning will start to lift. You will wake up feeling lighter as if the gravity has been turned down. The stiffness in the chest wall begins to dissolve. Month 1. This is where the identity shift happens. Your skin will look different, more color, less grayness, because the capillaries are delivering nutrients efficiently. Your focus at work will sustain for hours without the afternoon crash. You are no longer a person who is surviving the morning. You are a person who generates their own energy. You have moved from a reactive state to a generative state. You are not alone in this feeling of exhaustion, and you are not alone in this solution. There is a quiet wave of restoration happening right now. Thousands of us are choosing to turn away from the noise and return to the biology. We do not shout. We do not demand. We simply breathe. If this protocol speaks to the heaviness you have been carrying, try it tomorrow morning. If you feel the shift, simply leave a quiet mark below, a yes or a simple day 1. Let us know you are with us. Welcome to the ritual. Welcome back to your own authority.